Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. The other announcements, there'll be a couple other events that are open to the public. And again, drnekeshiahammond.com/events is where myself and my team will be posting those on there. And I will give you even more information as I get it if you'd like to register. Um, and thanks again for let me know where you're tuning in from actually in the chat as well. So those are all my announcements I believe for today. Oh, and for those of you who signed up for my new course, Resilience Resolution, welcome, welcome. This is week 1 of the course. And if you didn't get a chance to sign up or you're like, what in the world are you talking about here? I will give more information when the next group is starting the next course. But it is a new program that I've started. It's an 8-week program, and it's through my new school, which is Mindset Training School. So I will be giving you all more information about that as it becomes available for the next group of individuals who join the program. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So today I wanted to talk to you about, a lot of what we talk about in mental health moment are all the different ways you can help yourself, better yourself as a person, work on your mental wellness, which of course also affects your physical well-being. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about today, because I feel like this is another theme that I hear about a lot when it comes to self-care and sort of the guilt of taking care of ourselves. And that is this idea that we need to almost like continuously be on this go, go, go path and not take our breaks or not take the rest that we need, which we really do need to do that in order to recover, right, from whatever we're going through. It's really important for our brains and our bodies to recover and take that break. So one of the things I want to talk to you about today again is making sure that you're giving yourself permission to rest because well, first of all, there's actually research tied to that. So as much as we think sometimes that we'll actually be more productive if we're constantly working or constantly doing things, when you work on and we're all at different places in our wellness journey. So again, not to be in a place of judgment or self-blame for ourselves, but remembering that it is important to listen to your body and listen to your mind when you need to take that break. Because a lot of research actually shows that the breaks that you take can allow you to be more productive, right? We don't tend to think that let's say you have something that you feel is going to take you, I don't know, 6 hours to complete in your work day, for example. And you feel like if I just keep going and spend every single second working on this, that'll be the most helpful. And sometimes I get it. You're in a place where you have a time crunch. Maybe you don't have a lot of time for breaks. Like I totally get that. But there's also a lot of times when we're doing certain tasks and you do have the time to take that break, even if it's a small break, take that time to rest, or maybe you have a longer term project or something like that. It's really important. And again, the science shows that that rest that you take, whether it's a daily break, whether you're taking a break over a longer project, that allows you to be more creative. That allows you to be more productive, which is what most of us want, right? If you're just tuning in, today we're talking about the idea of giving yourself permission to take the pause, if you will, and take the rest that you need sometimes. And I share this with you also from a place that I have recovered, hopefully, mostly, I think recovered from being at that mental point of just thinking the go, go, go mentality and not taking adequate breaks works best. But really, what that can do is lead to burnout when you don't listen to your mind and listen to your body. So, over time, and again, we're all at different places on our wellness journey, but over time, I've really had to learn like it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to get an adequate amount of sleep. It's okay to take the pauses that you need for your mind and your body. Right. And the other thing to think about is how do you work on releasing that guilt that many of us struggle with sometimes? I feel like that is one of the emotions I've heard the most often about trying to have self-care, whether it looks like taking a break or taking some rest, giving yourself permission, knowing you can still get back on task, knowing you can still be successful, right? It's working on releasing that guilt that sometimes is um that sometimes cut alongs with that. I remember this one person I was talking to, they said that they didn't want to take breaks because they felt like they were being lazy. So what was happening to them is, well, the breaks that they needed to take and their and the tasks they were doing, they wouldn't take them because they told themselves a story that, well, that means I'm lazy. That means I'm going to be a failure. That means I'm not going to get my work done. But if you work on rewiring your brain to tell yourself, if I take this break, it will allow me to be more productive. It will allow me to be more successful, right? That's a different story you're telling yourself. And the reality is it's the truth. Now, how long of a break you need, I can't answer that question because all of us are different, right? So when I say a break, it could mean like a 5-minute break in your day or a 10-minute break in your day. It could mean doing something different at the start of your day or at the end of your day or during your lunch break. Those all count. It could mean maybe you need a day off. That's a longer break or a week off or whatever amount of time that you have that's reasonable for you and your situation and can work on giving you peace of mind and also helping physically your body to take the break. So if you're just tuning in, today we're talking about how do you work on taking a break, but giving yourself permission to really take that pause, right? Because a lot of times, our bodies will give us. I read something once that said if you like something like if you don't take the break that you need, that your body will take it for you. And what it meant was that sometimes we just don't listen to our bodies and don't take that nap or don't sit down or don't lay down or whatever we need to do, even physically, and what happens is we can get to the point where we hit physical burnout, meaning like you're just so exhausted, you just can't go anymore, right? Like it's so instead of and then you have to take a break or you get sick or there's sometimes you get sick from, like a cold almost, but from, like, the amount of stress you're under or, at worst, like, end up in a hospital or, things like that because we're so stressed out and we're not taking the time to take the breaks, right? So, instead of that happening, right, hopefully, we can be in a place of saying, "Okay, let's try to prevent that and instead work on taking those breaks that we need." Again, physically and mentally. So let me know for you, how do you take that pause, right? Like if you know that you need to, well, first give yourself permission. That's step one. Because some of us are in a place where we're not giving ourselves the permission because we're telling ourselves things that are not true. Like that means you're lazy or you don't have time or you shouldn't be taking a break. Like we tell ourselves all sorts of things that are not true for our mental health and wellness. But hopefully, if you're, sort of past that and you have taken the time to take those breaks, like let me know in the comments, what does that look like for you to really take that pause? Right. So for me, taking the pause means just simple things sometimes, like making sure to look up and enjoy a sunrise that I might see or a sunset, even if I'm in a car, in a plane, or wherever I'm at, like just taking a minute to look around and see the beauty of nature or just being more present when I'm drinking a cup of tea or making sure to find those moments where I'm trying to connect more to the present moment, which is mindfulness, by the way. And there it can even be short breaks that you take as well. But those types of things are really important to tell yourself that you deserve to have that peace of mind. You deserve to take the breaks that you need. And if you take breaks, they can make you more productive and more successful. Those are the sorts of things that you also have to, for some of us, we have to rewire our brains and tell ourselves those things. Right. And again, I share this with you. Let me read this. It said that, research from the World Health Organization, who shows that long working hours, 55 plus per week, does increase the risk of stroke by 35% and heart disease by 17% compared to a standard work week. However, asterisk on that, what is so fascinating about working a lot of hours, for example, is that it's also how are you spending that time? Because if you're spending that time in taking breaks, or if you're spending that time doing something you absolutely love, I'm sure those numbers would look different. So it was a stat that I wanted to read to you, but at the same time, also reminding you how important it is to take those breaks. So a person that, you know, I don't know, worked 20 or 30 hours straight with absolutely no breaks, doing something they absolutely hated versus someone that worked longer hours, but they're taking the breaks, they're enjoying what they're doing, they're working on mindfulness, they're protecting their body, they're protecting their mind. When you do that, the results look a bit different, right? On the spectrum of how are you doing emotionally and mentally and physically and spiritually. So again, I hope that you recognize that your rest, whatever that looks like for you, and again, rest comes in short amounts of time, long amounts of time, everything in between. It is not a luxury. it is I hope that it becomes a necessity for you. I hope that mentally you get to the point where you understand that you deserve that. You deserve that. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. It means that you're working on taking care of yourself. And one of the ways to do that is, again, taking those breaks, taking the rest time. What that looks like, of course, varies depending on, we just all have different needs, but we all have the need to rest and take a break. Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So if you're just tuning in, by the way, we've been talking about this idea of how do you work on giving yourself permission to rest and to take a break, because that is another tool in your toolkit, if you will, when it comes to your mental health and wellness. You might be at a mental place, as I mentioned earlier, where you're like, nope, I don't deserve this. Maybe you don't feel worthy of it. Maybe you feel like you're lazy. Maybe you feel you won't be enough. Maybe you feel like you're failing. Like there's all these things that come up when it comes to taking a break and rest. Maybe it was the way that society has taught you. Like there's a lot of things sometimes that we have to really unlearn when it comes to taking care of ourselves and our mental well-being. But hopefully today, again, as I mentioned, you start to tell yourself a different story. Yep. Just like you recharge your cell phone, right? We're quick to do that. We remember to do that. But just like someone said, also we, right, humans, we have to recharge. We have to reset and recharge. For many of you who have watched Mental Health Moment for a while here, you know that I travel often for different work projects and things. And I try my best. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll see my stories, of course, because I try to document as much as I can. But I try my best when I'm traveling, which gets very hectic. Very just there's a lot that happens with travel, lots of crazy adventures. But I try my best in that hectic, busy schedule to really, again, going back to taking that break, to somehow some way get out in nature, provided it's not 9 degrees outside, because you all know that I've been here on mental health moment that I do not love the snow or 9-degree weather. So provided it's not 9 degrees and snowing, um which is most of the year I'm not in those conditions. I do try to find a lake or a park or maybe somewhere in the mountains or wherever I'm at, to just spend some time out there. Sometimes I have 10 minutes, sometimes I have 30 minutes or an hour. It doesn't matter, right? Like just making sure to be conscious of taking the mental break. Because as I mentioned, and for those of you who are in a place right now, I totally understand you. If you're in a place where you're like, I'm struggling with that, where I'm struggling to take the breaks that I need, I'm struggling to take the rest, I totally understand you because I used to be in that mental place. So I totally get you if you're there. But the good news is that it takes practice like anything, but you can get to a point where you take that mental shift and work on consciously being aware of, being in a place where you make sure to take the breaks, make sure you take the rest, right? I'm gonna wrap up today's mental health moment. I hope you understand how important it is. Again, your rest is absolutely not a luxury, it is a necessity. So I really want you to continue to think about, be conscious about it. And after a while of you being conscious about how do you take your breaks and your rests, what will happen is it will be start to become a habit and start to become a part of you, if you will. Right. So I still think about like, okay, make sure, I take my minute or make sure I do my rest or spend time in nature, but I don't think about it as much because it's more very much a part of who I am now, right? It's an embedded habit. So that's my hope for you. Um, Okay, so if you need me before next Tuesday, you can always find me on drnekeshiahammond.com, or you can always connect at Dr. Nekeshia Hammond on all social media platforms. I will be back. Oh, and again, drnekeshiahammond.com/events is where you can find all the information for the events coming up, virtual, and we're going to put the in person on there pretty soon coming up. If you happen to be in the area where I'll be speaking at, it'll be on there. And have an amazing rest of your week. Make sure that you give yourself permission to take the pause this week, and I'll be back next week. So have a great, amazing week and take care. See you guys.